Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gong of Work to Live podcast version. 大家好，我姓龚，叫龚伟茶。这次，我关于世界上有最多人口的民族是汉族。我想谈话，我想说话。And as always, my Chinese is really broken or really complicated. Not complicated. It's a destructive. It's my Chinese is a destructive. Is a destructive language. No, Chinese itself is not a destructive language. It's just I'm really bad at speaking out Chinese language. Anyway, so this time, as I told you in Chinese language, what I'd like to talk about is the majority people is Han Chinese people around the world. So before actually telling you the conclusion of this episode, let me tell you the meaning of this title. So first of all, I told you the Chinese version of the title, but actually, translation is the title in English language. I have just told you minutes before, or seconds before. Anyway, so the majority is the Han Chinese people around the world, which means so. Please imagine that seven some billion population of the entire world, or at least it says that this planet or the planet Earth or this world it says to have or it seems to have 7 billion people or the population of the whole world or the population of this world seems to be 7 million seems 7 million it seems to be or 7 million 7 million seem to be the population of this whole world. 7 billion. Did I say 7 million? Anyway, 7 billion is the correct answer of the world population. Anyway, so among which the largest ethnicity or the majority people is Chinese people, which is what I told you, or that is what I told you. Well, not Chinese people. The majority of its Chinese people. It's not the correct expression. Well, it's not the correct answer. So what I want you to know is that the largest ethnic group in this world in this world having 7 billion population, or the largest or the majority people or the majority in the world population or in the whole population of this world having 7 billion people is Han Chinese people. Han Chinese people is the majority or the largest ethnic group of all over the world, which is what I wanted to tell you in the or with the title. Anyway, so description is done, and next part is I'm going to tell you the conclusion of this episode. The conclusion is to become rich, following the majority is not enough. You need to think and grow. So how they are connected between conclusion and the title is first of all what I'd like you to do is to imagine Chinese people. Any Chinese person or any Chinese people is fine. And China is a kind of interesting country. I'm sorry if you feel sick about what I have just told you. If maybe if you have Chinese ancestry, or if you have some Chinese lineage, and if you are mixed with some Chinese people, you might have felt sick about what I have just told you. Anyway, but still, I'd like to tell you that China is a kind of interesting country, and China or mainland China has the richest people all over the world, and the poorest people all over the world, and so those diversified people exist, or those diversified people living in that one country, which is China, which is mainland China. Thinking about which, China is fully diversified. It's fine to think like that. Anyway, so as I told you, there are rich people and poor people or impoverished people in that world. So, but so thinking about the majority Chinese people, or thinking about the majority, or thinking about the moderately rich people in China. So there, if you live in a developed country, the majority Chinese people are poorer, or the majority Chinese people have considerably lower incomes, or far lower incomes than you have. So, for example, if you any country is fine. If you can live in any country, or any country is fine for you to live in. So, for example, so maybe most frequent listeners live in the United States, and or most the largest amount of the frequent listeners of my podcast are American people anyway. So, for example, you are, for example, this is a hypothetical situation. So, for example, you are a French person, and maybe if you have some job, so if you do not have job, your income might be zero, or maybe there's some kind of subsidy in your country. If you live in France, for example, maybe you can get some kind of subsidy or stuff like that, which is why earning zero income is impossible in some ways, or in any ways anyway. So maybe you may have some subsidy, if some kind of income, even if you do not have job anyway. So it's complicated. So at least if you have a job, for example, if you have a job in France, and you can live in Germany, and if you have some job in France or Germany, and in Netherlands, for example, so your income must be higher than the average Chinese people with average incomes. And the discrepancy between your income and the average income of the average Chinese people is really huge. Please imagine, or please, which is a fact I'd like you to confirm at first. And so of course, so if you want to live on as a normal person, or as one of the other people, or if you want to live on as an ordinary person, it's fine to follow the majority people. And so, but actually, so if you are, this is also a hypothetical situation, but if you are considerably foolish people, or if you are considerably sub-intelligent people, or if your intelligence is considerably lower than other people, so I recommend you are following the thought circuits of other people, or the average people, because if you are really fool, or if you are really foolish, or if you are really sub-intelligent person, or sub-intelligent people, you may get lower incomes than the average incomes, or the average people with the average incomes. Which is why, if you are considerably full, I recommend you, or I think it's smart for you to follow the thought circuits, or follow the actions of the other people, or average people in your country. But so if you are, for example, if you still are ordinary people, if you are still an ordinary people, or normal people, so, but if you really want to become a rich person, or rich people, so if you want to become a rich people, so what you have to do is to think and grow by yourself. So of course, you can, it's fine to follow the thought circuit, or follow the courses of the lives, or not lives but lives. It's fine to follow the courses of the lives of other average people, or other ordinary people. So, before the retirement, I recommend you are quitting following the other people, or other ordinary people, and I think it's smart for you to think by yourself and come up with some business schemes for earning money or generating a lot of benefits, which is what I recommend if you want to become a rich person or rich people. And coming back to the original title of this episode, so why I began to talk about Chinese people. China, of course, China is interesting, but actually, that is not only the reason. And there are there are the richest people all over the world. So please check out the website of Forbes, and maybe 2020 or 2019, and any year is fine if it's those if those lists are recent one. And I'm recording this episode in 2022, so maybe the list of 2022 has not been created. Maybe the latest one in this year for now is must be 2021. Anyway, if you check out for example, if you check out the list of the richest people all over the world in 2021, maybe there must be some Chinese people who live in mainland China. So thinking about the fact, so those maybe you can understand this fact that those richest Chinese people have thought by themselves and have thought by themselves about how to accomplish what they want to accomplish, and by doing which they could get a lot of wealth thanks to their own efforts, and including the business schemes they have created by considerable efforts and considerable vigors those richest Chinese people have. So so that is a basis, or that is a foundation, or that is a fundamental rule or principle for becoming rich people, which is what I'd like you to understand. So of course, it's fine to follow what other people say or what other people do. So even so, in the case of this country, maybe the local people of my country are likely to do such a thing, and people follow what other people do or what other people say. So which is why people think it's really safe for the local people in this country think it's secure, or it's safer for themselves to follow what other people or what the standard people do or what the general public does. So there is such a tendency, or there is such a likelihood, or the local people think in such a manner as to the manner is to follow the actions and those circuits of the general public. So and of course that is really safe and secure for even for you. And even if you live in some European countries, and even if you live in the United States of America, but actually also you are Americans or also you are European people, but if you want to become rich, if you want to become rich, you should think by yourself, and you have to grow by creating some business schemes or business systems for earning money or generating a lot of incomes, so that you can become rich people. And if you continuously follow the actions or what general public says, what the general public says in your country. So if you keep following what other people do, or if you keep acting like as what other people do or what other people say, those people are, of course, the average people with the average incomes. You cannot become rich people or rich person, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So so which is why coming back to the original title of this episode. So the title is "The Majority People is Han Chinese People Around the World," and if those richest people in mainland China followed the average people. So they wouldn't be they couldn't become or they couldn't become rich people nowadays. So they didn't follow what other people do or what other people had done or what other people had said, which is why they could become they could become rich people and they could succeed in business fields. So that is the same case to your lives. So which is why if you want to become rich people, please at first if you are really full or if you are really foolish or if you have really low intelligence, if you have really low intelligences, I recommend you following the general public. But actually, if you are as smart as the general public people, and if you are smarter than general public people, and if you want to become richer, so I recommend you stopping following what people of the general public do, and what the people of the general public say, and I recommend you thinking by yourself for creating your own business schemes and grow. So which is what I'd like you to know this time. And by the way, at last, I said that I spoke out the Chinese titles like 世界上有最多人口的民族是汉族. So the translation is on this world the large having the people having the largest population is the Chinese people, but actually, you can say in other manners, like for example, so 世界上有最大人口的民族是汉族 and still another option is 世界上汉族有最多人口的最多人口 so which means on this world Han people has the largest population, which is what I said, which is what I have just said in Chinese language. So like which you don't have to cling to the Chinese phrase I told you at the beginning. So you can say various manners. You can say various manners for telling others the meaning. And so in the corner, in the part of Chinese lecture, of course, I'm not so good at Chinese language, but actually, the Chinese lecture is over. This is the end of the Chinese short lecture of Chinese language. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you and 再见.